maybe once you have the fingerprint, you can use it anywhere and it will authorize the funds. Or if you have things like your card, because like even here in Hungary, if maybe you have put your threshold for the point at which you can start putting a pin, if maybe you've put a threshold of 10,000, if somebody gets your card and they are purchasing something that is less than 10,000 in that specific day, they can easily get away with your money in your card. And that is a very huge risk, I think, when it comes to also these digital payments. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Balance It podcast. Balance It is a platform that empowers young men and women to live a purposeful life.
We delve into conversations relating to purpose-driven living, business, investments, health, and abroad experiences. I'm your host, I'm Gertrude Nasike.
And I am Eda Onyoni. And in today's episode, we are having a conversation that is very much needed in this digital era, and that is digital payments. But we are going to talk about digital payments in an international perspective. When you're traveling abroad, we definitely are using digital payments. Here where we are, or wherever you're watching us from, you're definitely using digital payments. So that is why this is a very needed conversation, especially in this digital era.
Yes.
What do you think are different kinds of digital payments?
I would say, just in a nutshell, first of all, basically digital payments are ways in which you can pay without using cash. Just in a layman's perspective. If you're in Kenya using M-Pesa, that's a form of digital payment. If you're here, maybe you're sending money to back home, using maybe Wise or Revolut or World Remit, that is a digital payment. So I would say some of these platforms or examples of digital payment platforms are, now let's say, Revolut, Wise, M-Pesa, just as I've said.
Western Union. Because I remember when I was in Kenya, and we used to do like international payments. We would use Western Union, but you had to really go to a bank to actually.
Now you see, that's a different one, because now for like these ones, the digital ones are very fast. Like you'd find instant transfers. You see the way you normally send money, like as long as you've just clicked submit or okay, in a short period of time, a minute or so, like it's confirmed the other person has gotten money. So basically that's how digital payments work.
And how do you think these payment platforms make traveling internationally more easier and actually even convenient?
I think it plays a very crucial role, especially when it comes to maybe currency conversion. You know, normally if you're using cash, you would have maybe your Kenyan shillings, you go and convert it to maybe euro if you're coming to Europe, to euros or whichever currency that you're supposed to use. For instance, in Hungary now, you will come with the euros and then you start converting again into Hungarian forints. And throughout this process, there are a lot of conversions and fees being charged throughout the process while converting cash. So you find while using digital payments, it's much easier, because if you can just it instantly converts this amount, and be rest assured this would be much less than the fees you'd be charged while using all these other transactions, maybe the cash transactions. So I feel it makes traveling more convenient, because you're not walking around with cash as well. It also makes it very secure, because you're not working with cash still, and there is no stress about maybe losing the money or being attacked, or even having to declare a certain amount of money. Sometimes you declare if you're carrying an amount of money past a certain threshold, you have to declare and the like. So it makes traveling very convenient. Yes.
I totally agree,
Mhm.
because right now, especially if it is, maybe let's talk about maybe the cards.
Yeah.
You just need one card
Yeah.
or two cards,
Yeah.
and you can do wherever you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking,
Mm.
speaking about the digital payments, do you think these digital payments are actually replacing the cash?
I wouldn't say confidently so, but there's a very high likelihood later in the future they're going to replace cash, because you would find cash payments are still dominant in several areas. Let's say, for instance, in Africa, people are still using cash payments a lot. I would say for Kenya, it's a little bit different because people use digital payments, especially M-Pesa. People use M-Pesa for almost everything. So at least that most people have transitioned slowly from cash related payments a lot. And also, when you look at the Europe markets, a lot of people are using digital payments. Very few people carry cash around. I rarely have cash with me, you see. So I think later on it's going, not even might, it's going to replace maybe cash payments. But as at now, cash payments are still very prevalent in other areas.
Yeah,
Yes.
I totally agree, because actually I was one of our Chinese friends, or even it was a class, but the Chinese people resonated with that, because there are some different parts in China actually whereby right now they're even using their thumbs. You just use your thumb. I really don't know how it works. You just use your your thumb or the fingerprint
To make payments.
yeah. And I didn't understand how it is linked with, how your fingerprint is linked with your bank, that like it is now getting to a point whereby even our own bodies are being used as payment modes.
I think it's because these are biometrics. Like right now, the future of payments are, let's say, blockchain, biometrics, crypto, and now for the area of biometrics, the reason as to why it works like that is because you would find that's just a form of authorization. You see the way sometimes you go and put your card after you want to make payments, then you put your card, and sometimes they ask you for your PIN. When you put that PIN or that code, it means you're just authorizing whoever is, like, there are a lot of parties in between your where you are, that store that you're buying, with your bank. There are very many parties, and the communication takes seconds because you just realize you tap and then it's accepted.
Yeah.
It takes very few seconds for the communication to go to your bank and come back and accept that this. So it happens. That's just an authorization as well. So you find where he or she puts the thumb, and in some areas it's a facial scan. Yeah. You find, as long as I put my thumb like this, the communication goes to your to to
The
that is
bank.
to the bank. So where you're putting the thumb is like, it's called a point of sale system. So when you put, the communication goes to the bank, authorizes, yes, this is the account holder. The bank authorizes, yes, he or she has this amount of money. And the moment they're giving an okay, the communication is taken back to now the merchant, and the bank for this merchant, it's called an acquiring bank. It now accepts this payment, and these things take microseconds. So like, that's, I think, why it works, because that's the future of payment, and things are really changing, and it's so fascinating actually.
Yeah. And I feel like China, they're already in the future. They're
Yeah,
already
I
in the
think, yeah,
future.
they're very much ahead when it comes to payments. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just need to accept either way, because if they're already using that
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and some people are still in the cash era,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
refusing. So let's just embrace the digital payments.
That's very true.
And even as we talk about the digital payments, I honestly feel like there are so many risks. There are so many there are so many risks
Definitely.
involved here, because speaking about just your fingerprint, what if somebody just cuts your fingerprint and they cut your fingerprint and then they just go and authorize that, maybe once you have the fingerprint, you can use it anywhere and it will authorize the funds. Or if you have things like your card, because like even here in Hungary, if maybe you have put your threshold for the point at which you can start putting a pin, if it is if maybe you've put a threshold of 10,000, if somebody gets your card and they are purchasing something that is less than 10,000 in that specific day, they can easily get away with your money and your card.
Sure.
And that is a very huge risk, I think, when it comes to also these digital payments. But not to say we cannot just avoid that. Those are things that we need to put measures into place. And also things like transaction fees, because I feel like when you have cash, there are no any transaction fees related to the making the payments. But when it comes to these online digital transactions, we are seeing so much transaction fees being seen, especially with the difference in the currency exchanges. There are so huge transaction fees that we are seeing that are actually eating into our money that we could have bought shares somewhere.
I totally agree. That's very true. And I think another risk, maybe just to add on what you said, is the risk of cybersecurity attacks. Because as much as, yes, you would find these transaction platforms are really secured, like majority of them are very, very much secured, and then you'd find there are maybe two-step authentication. I think right now you're realizing a lot of things you need to have a two-step verification in order to maybe access, maybe if it's your account or any account. It doesn't have to be even your money account alone, I think it's something you've realized, and you'd find these are just regulations that have been put in place. So as much as, yes, there are these strong regulations and there are these strong ways to protect the customer, there are still risks of cybersecurity attacks, people maybe scamming, sometimes requesting for your details, and the like. So it's also still a very big risk.
Now, speaking about these digital payments platforms, maybe we can give maybe our viewers some of the digital payment platforms that we have used, especially like since we have traveled, we've had the privilege of traveling abroad. We can talk about the different platforms that we have been able to use, and maybe touch on maybe some of the currency exchange rates, maybe some of the platforms that give the good exchange rates.
For me, I would just give the specific the platforms. Honestly, I don't look at the exchange rates while sending or converting or wanting to exchange the money. I don't look at it. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just something that I've come to do. Like, I would just like, most of the things that I look at is the transaction fee, like what they're charging for me to transact, the separate transaction fee, but not the conversion of the amount I want to send. So I will just start with M-Pesa. M-Pesa is it's global. If you have the M-Pesa app, you can still send money from here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can still manage your accounts, and that is just one platform that I would say, and it's very much convenient. Another one, I would say Wise. I've used Wise a lot while transacting money, and also Revolut. And I love Revolut also nowadays because it allows you to access other platforms, because Revolut is literally a bank. It's an online bank, and it has all these other, if it's investment portfolios, you can access as a customer to them. So I really love this Yes.
I can also add things like PayPal. PayPal is also known worldwide. I
Yes.
really don't like PayPal because they have very high exchange rates.
Ah,
It's very high.
I've not used
It's
it
very high,
before.
but it can be accessed globally. And the good thing with PayPal is that
Yeah.
you can be able to connect PayPal with your M-Pesa, PayPal with your bank account,
Yeah.
because there are some platforms that do not accept bank accounts.
Yeah, yeah, true,
So or M-Pesa accounts. So
true.
you can easily transact with PayPal, but I don't like it because of the high exchange
Exchange
rates.
rates.
Yeah, but now for the exchange rates, you can now look at things like Revolut, which I hear they give really good exchange rates as well. Yeah, and also your banks give you cards, and if it is a card, if you have a Mastercard, or if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have what is it called, the Western Union card, you can be able, a Visa card, sorry,
Visa
you can be
card.
able to transact anywhere in the country,
Yeah.
anywhere abroad or wherever.
Yeah.
But now the other thing is, because I remember like last summer when I had traveled to Malta, when I was in Malta, my card
Yeah.
was actually freezed because I had not informed my bank that I'm actually
Going to use it
going
in
here
Malta.
in Malta.
Yeah.
So those are things that there's at a point where you need to inform your bank, where in case
True.
you are traveling, either let's say for a prolonged period of time, maybe 1 month
Yeah.
or 2 months. It's important to also just check with your bank
Yeah.
that you are safe for you to use your card outside, because
Yeah.
despite us being in the European Union, I was actually shocked why they blocked my account, but it was actually, I was told that it was for a security reason,
True. It
because
makes
it
sense.
was used to to transacting in foreigns, and then you start transacting in euros.
Yes. And I think it's just the same situation where sometimes you know, like when you're logging into your Google account with a different device or in a different location, you're actually going to get a prompt, an email or a Google prompt immediately that there's someone trying to log in with this this specific device from this specific location.
Yeah.
Is it you? So you can authorize it. So I think it's the same concept, and I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah. Do you have something to add on how you think these digital payments actually help for us to having like a seamless travel experience?
I would just still emphasize on the fact that they are really convenient. They offer convenience a lot when traveling, because you don't have to really stress yourself about traveling with cash. And then another thing is like something I noticed with, what is it called? With Wise, they actually give you options to store your money in different currencies. I don't know, if I've not checked it with Revolut yet, but with Wise, they give you, they're called jars. You can save your money. So you can have, maybe you can hold your money in euros, you can hold it in USD, you can hold it in Kenya shillings. So they have different jars that you can also just put your money into it and decide to maybe save for specific purposes. Maybe you're putting money, maybe you're going to send it after every month, or you want to buy a cloth or invest. So you can really just section your money within the same account, but in different sub accounts. Yeah, that was really something I liked. And I feel like for travelers, it's a good thing because you can literally just secure your money in a specific jar and name it a traveling jar or something, Yeah, which is a very good thing.
I think it's a very good, valid point, because you see, when especially when we are having these digital platforms, we really don't get to look at other options that are given inside there that can actually benefit us. It's like when I was the other day, one of my friends came from Kenya, and she had this M-Pesa app, I had not downloaded the M-Pesa app when I was in Kenya, but I had my Safaricom app. But my Safaricom app does not have the kind of investment options that M-Pesa app actually gives. And she was showing me, she was asking me, do you know this platform? I'm like, what is that? But actually, it's something that is in the M-Pesa app that has been introduced. But since I was not using that specific app, and even when I was in Kenya, I was not seeing it because I was just not interested. But now bringing in that point, you realize that these digital platforms, they're not just a place to just save your money, just put your money. It's a place also you can be able to invest. Some digital platforms are providing things like money market funds, so it is easily accessible on your phone without you going to a broker. It is very easily accessible. So I feel like those are things that we also need to look out for, especially when you're traveling abroad, what your financial goal is, and finding a platform that actually resonates with your financial goal.
Very true.
Yeah.
I really like how you've put it. And this brings us to the end of our episode. And just a last thing, for the M-Pesa app, you're saying there's something they had introduced. Could you maybe share with the audience what it is?
I don't know the name specifically, but on the M-Pesa app, there are different investment options. Like what the lady was telling me, that like recently there was a money market. So I feel I think I understood it that they roll out different money market funds or investment options at different at different times of a season. So if they need a specific amount of money, they roll out something that can be able to give them that specific amount of money, and then once they have, they close it down, and then they bring in something new. So if you are privileged to actually get to a point to be able to invest in that specific thing before it actually closes down, so you become one of the lucky few people. But all these other investment options they provide, but I don't remember the name specifically, but I can still find the name because either way it is in the M-Pesa app. But now the problem is when you are here, you cannot be able to download.
But anyway, it's something for even people
Back
in
at
Kenya.
home, yeah.
If you can be able to download, you can look at those investment options.
Yes, for
So
sure.
yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode. A very good way to close the show.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. Share this episode and do not forget to subscribe.
And definitely comment down below on what you think about the international travel digital payment platforms. Which ones have you used? We know there are so many of them. There are so many of them, also to different countries. They are different as well. So share with us what you have used and let us know what works for you. And until next time, bye-bye.